Hello and welcome to BitScene. Today I'm going to be talking about gaming in South Africa during load shedding. If you don't know what load shedding is, consider yourself lucky. Load shedding is basically periodic bouts in which we have no electricity. These can last from 2 hours up to about 6 hours, and if there's been a fault, sometimes 24 hours. So this leaves very few options in terms of gaming. Some people are lucky enough to have solar equipment that allows them to power their household, or perhaps battery backup cells, but these are quite expensive. If you want to do online play, then you can use one of these cheap mini UPS systems that keep your Wi-Fi going. That way you can still play your mobile games as well as your online games on your different handhelds. Obviously, this will not allow you to play your console games such as your PS4, etc. And if they do, it won't be for very long. So, with that out the way, let's dive into it. First up, we have the RGB 20S by Powkiddy. I was lucky enough to pick up this device from a seller on Marketplace. It allows you to play everything from PSP, PlayStation 1, all the way through to Game Boy, as well as arcade games. One of my favorite games to play on here is Street Fighter 3, as you can see from Chun-Li on my left here. And it runs smoothly, no sound issues, and it plays well. So how is this for gaming during load shedding? Well, the battery life is really good, and it also provides you with a variety of video games to play. So you can play literally thousands of different games on the system. So it can really keep you busy. The only letdown is the lack of online play. You technically can play online with this, but getting a match via RetroArch and having to use the Wi-Fi adapter, it's not the best thing. But in terms of controls, battery life, and variety, this is a great little system when the power's out. Next on the list, we have the GPD XD Plus. This is another system I was lucky enough to get off of a Marketplace seller for a fairly decent price. This is quite a powerful system, and it's quite different to the previous one. This one runs on Android. And I think it's got between 2 and 4 gigs of RAM. So it is quite capable of running quite a few systems. It's got lovely controls, nice micro switches on the back. And it also has the option of configuring the buttons based on the touchscreen, which it has as well. It also runs Android games, obviously, which is great. So here you can see I'm running Call of Duty, and Call of Duty runs pretty well. So in terms of a gaming system to play when load shedding occurs, this is a good one because you can still play your online games with your friends. You can plug it in, it's got a headphone jack at the back, and you can have in-game chat, etc. In terms of variety, this particular system can run a lot of emulators. It can run PSP emulators, and I've even tried Wii, the Dolphin emulator, as well as Dreamcast. Obviously, that's going to be game dependent though. In terms of setup, it's not the easiest to set up if you're wanting to play games that are not Android specific, because you've obviously got to get ROMs, etc., which can be a bit of a downer. But if you want to run your Android games and you don't want to use it on your phone, you want the controls, a bit of that tactile gaming, then this is a great one. One of the other pluses about the system is the battery. It's got a 5,000 milliamp battery. So this runs really well. You can also watch your movies on here. So that's a great little plus for load shedding. As I've said, the only downfall is if you're wanting to do emulation, getting ROMs, etc. on here can be a bit of a fuss. Not that difficult, but there is that extra step. Next up, I want to talk about more official systems. And the first one I have here is the Nintendo 3DS. This particular one I've customized myself. It had a very scratched up back. I'd actually gotten the system second hand, and like I said, it had a bit of a scratched up back, so I customized it. But this is a 3DS. It's a Nintendo. You know the quality is going to be great. Here you can see a bit of Animal Crossing, one of those really popular games. And one of the really cool things about this particular system, it can play DS games as well. It has a slot dedicated to it, so you can play your DS games as well as your 3DS games. The library for this system is huge, so you can load up plenty of games. Everything from your Street Fighters, Mario Kart, you want some racing, open world games as well. There's a huge variety. Even Resident Evil is on here. And then of course the very popular games, Nintendo specific titles of the Zelda series. So really cool system to have. And if you watch Marketplace well enough or visit local secondhand shops, you can find these for anywhere between about 600 Rand to about 1,800 Rand, and often they will come with games. So great little system. Battery life on the 3DS, unfortunately for load shedding, not the greatest. If you're playing a 3D title, you're going to have about 3 hours available to you. So that's the only downfall on this particular system, is the fact that that battery is not going to last. If you can get your hands on a Nintendo DS, however, you're going to be limited to the DS library, but the battery life on the DS is great. You're looking at about 6 hours. I very rarely run that particular battery down. This one does get flat pretty quickly though. That's a Nintendo 3DS. Alright, onto another official handheld. This is a PSVITA. And I picked this particular one up. Somebody was immigrating and they sold it for really cheap. So I was lucky to get this particular one. This has Wi-Fi and OLED touch display. It's a really wonderful system. Despite the size of these analogs, surprisingly good. How's the battery life on this? Great. The battery really lasts, and for some reason the sleep mode battery lasts an incredible amount of time. I haven't actually played this for a while. This has been sitting on sleep for about a week, and I think it's only drained maybe 5% or so. This has Wi-Fi capability, and there are still online lobbies. One of the games I play most is Mortal Kombat 9, as you can see here. So, in terms of battery life, great. In terms of online multiplayer, great. It also, some models have 3G, so they can take a SIM card, which will allow you to keep online if need be, if you don't have one of the battery backups for your Wi-Fi. This system has a wide variety of games. It can play some older Nintendo titles from the 8-bit systems and the 16-bit systems if you hack it, but out the box you can have access to PSP games as well as PlayStation 1, which runs really smoothly on here, and then of course the great library that comes with the PS Vita. So this is actually a really wonderful device if you're gaming during load shedding, during your power outs. Battery life is great, wide variety of quality games, great controls and online capability. The final one we're going to be looking at today is the Switch. I don't have to speak too much about this. I think everybody knows about the Switch. I'm using a Switch Lite in this particular case. And I'm really enjoying it. It was quite a surprising system for me. I wondered if I was going to be bummed by the fact that I took the Switch Lite as opposed to the standard Switch that can use the Joy-Cons, etc., and connect to the TV. But I'll be honest, I've never been let down with the system. And as you can see, it runs AAA titles that are available on other consoles. And it has a wide variety of games. Great if you want to do your online games such as Fortnite, quick games like Akane, Hellblade, full story title, great graphics. Just really wonderful set of games you can play on here. So how is this particular device for load shedding and or power outs? Not the greatest. If you're playing something like Mortal Kombat, for example, Mortal Kombat 11, you're going to run this thing dry in about 2.5 hours and it's going to be done. You might be able to squeeze 3, maybe even 4 outs if you're going to switch off your Wi-Fi, drop the screen really low, then you could get a bit more out of it. However, if you are playing 2D titles such as Blasphemous, for example, then it's not too intensive and you can push this thing. I think the max I've taken it is about 6 hours. So you can do that. And then also it does use a Type-C. So if you have a charging brick around, you can charge it. So how would I rate this for power outs, etc.? Pretty good. Only drawback is the battery, of course, and then the cost that possibly comes with this particular item. I've seen them as cheap as 2,000 Rand these days, which is really affordable, but that it's not, you don't see that too often, but they can range on average nowadays from about 2,800 Rand secondhand up to about 3,500, depending on your condition, of course. Brand new, you're looking at about 4,000, which can be a bit much for most, so that's possibly your biggest drawback. I enjoy the system a lot. I play it almost daily. It's great because often if I want to play online with someone in the household, they can play on like the PS4, for example, and I can play on here and we can play together. So that's been great. But obviously for load shedding, that's not going to happen. But I can play my online games as long as the Wi-Fi is still running, and I can get maybe 2.5, as I said, 3 hours out of this thing. But yeah, I mean, it's a Nintendo system, it's a Nintendo Switch, great system to have, and really nice to play a bit during load shedding. But if you got the long 4-hour haul, it's not going to last. You're going to have to move over to one of the other systems. So these are the systems that I play during load shedding. They keep me really busy. Anyway, so that's it from me in this video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you'd like to see more of these particular types of videos, do drop a comment. If you want me to go in depth with any of these systems, let me know. And thank you for watching.